Great games have many things going for them, from the atmosphere to the gameplay, but in my opinion, the most important thing in a game is the characters. How well can the developer connect the characters to my mental neurons and make me care whether I finish the story or not? The thing is, many games do not even remotely reach the point of passing interest in their characters these days. So I've decided to break down how Limbus Company writes its characters correctly and why it should matter to other game companies these days. Before we can jump into what makes Limbus Company so good at writing characters, I think first we should jump into characters in modern gaming that have the emotional depth of a pencil eraser. This way we will have something to compare them to when moving on, and right off the bat, I have to say pretty much any other gacha game can fuck right off. Star Rail has horrible characters, Genshin Impact, who cares, and even Nike, or Nike for those of you who pronounce it that way, is just there to sell you big bootied waifus with no personality. However, these games are simple cash grabs, so we can't really look too deeply into how they write their characters wrong, now can we? A franchise way too many people in my age bracket relate to would probably be Harry Potter. And to be honest, yes, I'm one of the people who read the books way too much, and even got into theory crafting about it due to the YouTube channel The Super Carlin Brothers. Each character was written with love, all the way from the lowest characters like Winky the house elf, all the way to the Golden Trio gives you reasons to care about the characters and to remember their struggle. You get invested even in Creature's story and his redemption. So let me ask you, if you played Hogwarts Legacy, do you remember any of the characters in this game? I know the story was about your character being able to see ancient magic and trying to stop an evil goblin from taking over the wizarding world, but for the life of me, I can barely remember any character from the game. I can tell you some important roles, but the characters are a non-factor and completely forgettable. In fact, until I was making this video, I had forgotten all of them and still didn't want to take the time to look their names up. So, before we get into the impact a forgettable character has on us, guys, help me not be forgotten. If you like the video, give it a like. And while you're at it, you better subscribe, or my cute daughter might get really sad and forget that I'm here. Now, what could be worse than characters that you can't remember? What about characters that should be well written, but you just can't bring yourself to care about in the slightest? And I know I'm going to get flack for this, but here we go. There are almost zero characters that I care about in Baldur's Gate 3 at all. I remember the characters. They have great design, they have drive, a goal, they even have backstories. But to me, it breaks down to basically moody vampire bent on world domination. Teenage wizard crying about getting scorned by his goddess lover. Okay, I haven't seen that one before. Badass looking tiefling barbarian who might explode if you don't get her back to hell where her engine thing won't overheat. Okay, I'm slightly interested there. And this is where the biggest problem is. At best, I'm only slightly interested in what should be the coolest character in the game. With so many characters to choose from, to learn the stories of, most runs are broken down to who will your character romance? And how do I mid-max the character to beat the dragon in Act 3? Never once did I think, how are they going to react to this? What would this character decide if I'm supposed to be playing as them? It breaks down to somehow a less involved version of Mass Effect decision tree. And seriously, I actually cared about the characters in that game more than Baldur's Gate. So it's like a cheap knockoff in a Larian Studios game. Which honestly is quite sad because Larian Studios did such a wonderful job in the Divinity series. If being forgettable is bad and someone not caring is worse, then what would be the worst? When I say names like Nazim, Skippy, and even Navi, what pops into your head? Are these characters bad? Do they serve their purpose? Well, if their purpose is to be remembered for the wrong reasons, then I would say that they are some of the greatest pros of all time, and the best written characters of all time. All three of the before mentioned characters are often on lists of the most annoying characters in games. Go ahead, tell me some characters that really drive you nuts, and I'll throw out a name later to see if you guys wrote it down now. Honestly, becoming the meme of the game might make people remember you, but for all the wrong reasons. So in my opinion, being the character that is written so bad that you're remembered as a highly annoying character is the worst type of NPC you can be.
Hey, listen! Hey, listen! Hey, 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 hey! Listen, 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 listen! Hey, 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 hey!
And I mean, can you really disagree with me? I hear you guys. Alden, you said your video is about how Limbus Company writes good characters, and you guys are right, but I felt like we should talk about games that do it wrong first, so that we can appreciate what we got. When I tell you how good it is that Project Moon is in charge of writing our characters that we have come to love in these games. Managers, I need you to do something for me. I know it's hard for those of you who have been playing the game for the last 2 years, but go back to when you first started playing Limbus Company. Now remember which characters you liked, which ones you were not a fan of. And now, if you can, run through the game real quick for me and tell me, is that list the same? I'll tell you right now that Marisol, Hung Lu were the lowest two, with Sinclair being close behind them. But as we entered his canto, everything opened up and even Sinclair started to burst with determination. Marisol has not even had a canto yet, but everything from the cooking competition all the way up to his very almost autistic way he announces the death of Catherine to Heathcliff has made this man consistently grow on me, and he has hit S tier the longer I play this game. And while Hung Lu has not yet grown on me, I'm holding out until his canto. I'm told my opinion will change drastically when I get there, and I hope so. What I'm showing here is at first we had each and every problem that the previous section of the video was bringing up. To me, Sinclair was the annoying one-note character. However, unlike so many games that bring this character into the forefront, Sinclair grew from just a sniveling character to what he is now. Honestly, I think the fact that Project Moon does not have a main character in its games helps them make sure each character can shine. When you think about other games that have annoying characters like Navi from Ocarina of Time, or even say Ashley from Resident Evil 4, these games are so busy telling the story around the main character that they don't give these characters a moment to shine. The way Project Moon did Limbus Company was to allow every center to not only have its own canto to shine in, but even moments in between in the intervalos. A funny little tangent here would be thinking about how KJH and company would write our most annoying characters. Think about how fun and quirky Navi, or even how a non-annoying Slippy from Star Fox would be. And honestly, I think that they could do it. Not convinced yet that Project Moon has found the formula to writing better characters than your favorite games? Well then, let me talk about how even the character that I don't care about so much in Limbus Company and Hung Lu, and how Project Moon has done the impossible and made me actually wait to care about the often called femboy of the game. Like I said before, Hung Lu just has not grown on me as a character. An earlier version of this would be Yi Sang before his canto. I just thought he was some emo kid without much to say. But slowly, even before we get to his story section in the game, we see small things. In an earlier scene, we hear that Yi Sang was normally more talkative, which makes you think, oh, what happened? How did he change? The cooking challenge was great to see how Yi stepped into his role. And just like with Yi Sang, Hung Lu is getting hints at things to come. In Heathcliff's canto, we hear that he is usually more insightful. Now, I have not noticed this in the past talking points, but when you look back, you can see the build-up. And unlike what was going on when I talked about Baldur's Gate, I actually care, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of Hung Lu's story, to see the story behind the id that I have had since day one of me playing this game. Now guys, if you are not ready yet to accept that Project Moon is a masterclass in writing characters, do you guys remember when I said that one of the worst things is forgettable characters? Well, to me, the most forgettable character in the whole game was Marisol. Put down the torches, cram, put down the knife. Yes, put it down and listen, okay? The first thing I thought when I saw this character was, who is this? And, oh, he's gone. Every once in a while, he would just kind of make an appearance, say nothing, but then, oh yes, then he slowly started saying things that would stick. His observations about group dynamics and just random movements that some fucking how 12 other sinners keep not noticing makes him quite the invaluable asset to the team. Now, only if he would share with the rest of the class while not being prompted to. I mean, the memes about him being able to do anything if just Dante would tell him to have me rolling. Like Marisol, get me the Infinity Gauntlet and beat Thanos in a simple, yes, Dante, and boom, it's done. But from one cook to another, him being a perfect cook hit me a bit differently. But, I mean, let's face it, most of the time when a character is forgettable, the game writers tend to just leave them that way. Why would they bring resources to bear for a character that no one cares about? And this is why Project Moon just knows how to write its characters in a fun and interesting way that other games of the modern era just can't fucking do. So why does it matter? Should we care how our characters are written? Can't slop games with bad characters be fun to play still? And I mean, I've played plenty of games with bad characters that are still fun, and a lot of classics were mentioned in my list of bad characters. I know the Ocarina of Time gets a lot of flack lately for just being good for nostalgia, but to that I say, fuck you, it's better than Breath of the Wild, fight me on it. But we all have a memory sink as players of that game. We are forced to forget one very common phrase. Hey, listen! Think about games with the most annoying characters, and instead of them just focusing on making the main character look like a badass, i.e. Resident Evil 4 Leon style, imagine how much better that game would have been if we had a slightly more drawn out Ashley. Honestly guys, I believe that this should really matter to us as lovers of our favorite medium. Having interesting and compelling characters should be something that we all care about intensely. I don't know about you, but for me, most memorable games are those that have greats across the board. Great story, great combat, and every character is also great. From my past, only a few games jump to the forefront of my mind, and when these aspects are all brought together, games like Final Fantasy Tactics, where even the one-off fights have well-written characters before you fight them to the death. Yes, games can be good with no character development. I don't think anyone knows the story behind the blocks in Tetris. Yes, sadly, there is a story to the blocks in Tetris, and that game sold millions of copies. However, in today's ever-competitive landscape of gaming, we should all ask for our favorite companies to be more like Claire Obscure and make even the side characters come to life and bring more life to their games. And you know who does that from the beginning and continues to build up on its amazing repertoire? Project Moon. From Sade to Pilot and everyone in between, even dead characters are well written, like Catherine. If a character is shown, it would be nice to at least have a reason other than background noise for them to exist. Well guys, gaming is such an important thing in my life, and I'm guessing if you're watching this, it is for you too. And while I'm not saying all games should be one-for-one copies of the types of storytelling that Project Moon does, don't you think we would have richer worlds with more interesting characters if it was at least closer? If I said anything you agree with, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe either. We have a Discord link in the description where you can join in the community streams on Friday and vote in polls to see if I'll make the videos you want me to. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and remember guys, be good to each other. See you in the next video. Peace.